have any measures to do more of these in the rural areas to attract health workers, teachers, and other service providers to these communities?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think the massive affordable housing project that the President intends to roll will encompass all of these districts, from the constituencies, from the districts through the regional capitals to the central part. As a ministry, we'll also collaborate with the Ministry of Local Government and all the other sector ministries to roll out affordable housing for the sector ministries. Even looking at Kolebu, for instance, there's this flat at Kolebu called Nkoma Flat. It's been there for ages, and then people are just encroaching. We can do a lot of redevelopment there, a lot of infilling, and cede it to the Ministry of Health. We can do same in the various constituencies. Having had some collaboration with the ministries, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Defense, and all the other sector ministries, and collaborate with the MMGCs. In the rural constituencies, it's not as difficult acquiring a land as in the capital city. So I believe that if we start rolling out this concept, the traditional authorities will come to our aid. And let me take this opportunity to thank my Omahine, Bian Kwanta Mahine. He has already offered 100 acres of land for affordable housing. And the Amfo Mahine, Honorable Harina's friend, has also offered 80 acres of land for affordable housing. And Otufo Nana Osei Tutu has also given us 220 acres of land at the Desua for affordable housing. So we can collaborate with the traditional authorities and the MMGCs to roll out affordable housing in our various constituencies. Thank you.
So my last. Okay.
Chairman, she can add that Yana will add adequate land for affordable housing if she does pay a courtesy call on the Yana. So you can add him to your traditional list of Yana Bukare will offer you land. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I hope Honorable Haruna will arrange that meeting for me as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay, so my last. On behalf of all the chiefs and people of Techimai North, you are welcome to hectares of land to start this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Now I have parcels of land. I'm anticipating more from other regions of our country. And Mr. Chairman, during my term as a Deputy Minister, we started collaborating with honorable members of Parliament. We asked them to source for lands from their constituencies for us to collaborate with the traditional authorities and see how best we can look for funding to build in those areas. So we'll continue. Thank you.
Yes, Reverend. I'm grateful, Honorable Chair, and congratulations, Honorable Minister Designate. With your specific assignment of mass housing and affordable housing, what funding strategy do you propose to fund affordable housing?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. As I indicated earlier, I think that the way to go is to set up the housing fund, look for sources of funding into the fund, and also incorporate other models from other African countries. In Kenya, for instance, under the Shelter Afrique program, Shelter Afrique is a financial institution that seeks to support other African countries. And fortunately, Ghana is rated third on that list. Kenya is first, Nigeria second, and Ghana third. And as I sit here, I can confidently say on authority that through Shelter Afrique, some of our private investors have been supported with funding. I can make mention of Rehoboth and some other banks like Ghana Home Loans. They've all been supported. So we can tap into the Shelter Afrique program, and we can look for other sources of funding, concessionary loans and all that, to support the housing industry. And I would also want to propose that I think as a ministry, we need a budget for housing itself, a real budget for housing. Because housing, you all agree with me, is a capital-intensive area, looking at land, looking at other resources, building materials and all that. If we have that kind of budget as a ministry, I think we'll be able to roll out a number of houses, in addition to the housing fund, leveraging on the pension scheme. Thank you.
Very well. What is the state of Kaiser flats and UNDP flats?
Thank you very much. The UNDP flats was established in the 1960s to house expatriates. Over the years, over some 5 decades, things have changed now. Currently, as it stands, I've been briefed that there are a lot of squatters there. The ministry tried to do some redevelopment because UNDP flats is around cantonment. It's in a very prime area. So we can do a lot of redevelopment there and attract a lot of money from that area. Unfortunately, we've not cited any concrete documents on the redevelopment scheme. And one contractor is claiming ownership of a whole block of flats. So when given the opportunity, I will assist the Honorable Minister for us to audit the UNDP flats and see how best quickly we can roll with some redevelopment and some infilling at Laboni to house our public and civil servants. But as it stands now, about 80% of the occupants there are not even on our list. We don't even know them. And I've been briefed that the people living there claim, that's the word they use, they claim to be national security operatives. So we'll look further into it and see how best we can bring sanity into the UNDP flats. With the Kaiser flats, it's under TDC. For a long time, they were battling with court issues. The squatters living on those flats, even though the structures are not strong, they are all dilapidated structures. The last time I went there, when I was a deputy minister, I saw the structure as a death trap. So the TDC have really fought, and now they've gotten a judgment from the court to demolish 4 of the structures. I believe it's another area that we can put up a number of houses, a number of flats at the Kaiser flats in Tema. So we're going to support the TDC to roll out a lot of flats. A lot of investors even came through the ministry whilst I was the deputy minister for housing. And when they heard of my nomination again, they started trooping into the ministry. So a lot of people are interested to invest in housing. So yes, we work on the Kaiser flats, we work on the UNDP flats, and we work on the Nkrumah flats. Thank you. And that's a your question. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that was it.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, Honorable Nominee. This is courtesy of Chairman. Chairman says to tell you that the Kwemi rice is very good friend, and he's going to make sure that through me, he also adds to the land allocation so that Salaga staff can benefit from the affordable houses. Thank you very much.
That's all. Very well. Giselle, I've finished. Leadership then. Mama. Yes, Honorable Mama.
Don't you see that I often act as leader? Yeah? I'm close to leadership, yes, that's true. Building and Road Research Institute. Building and Road Research Institute. You are familiar with them?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, to a point.
Yeah, I mean, they are part of the research institutions and CSIR. To what extent are we relying on the expertise of the institute in terms of developing affordable housing, the type of technologies that could be used that will make housing cheaper, and in terms of the climate, more friendly, and also in terms of the use of appropriate and local resources and materials. To what extent are you using the Building and Road Research Institute, and how is it integrated into the work of the Ministry of Works and Housing?
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, the Rural Housing Department under the Works and Housing Ministry have been working closely with the BRI under the CSRI. And they've come up with a number of other local materials that we are still exploring and trying to figure out how we can tap into those local materials, looking at dynamics, environment, and all that. You agree with me that in the developed countries, even in the US, most of their buildings are made up of wood. In our part of the world, if you start putting up houses made up of wood, people will read a lot of meanings into it. So we have to educate ourselves. They are still exploring, but we are working very closely with them under the Department of Rural Housing. Thank you.
You're done. Yes, Honorable. Very well.
Chairman, I can only wish the Honorable Freda well. Safe to say what I've said, that I see a role conflict, and that can add to bureaucratic red tape, but that is not your doing. And for you to know that the communication from Eugene Ahin is not officially communicated to Parliament, and therefore you have assured us that you go and assist the minister if he gets confirmed, Honorable Ascent. So I was looking at the fact that you are senior deputy, you have more experience than him, member of Parliament, you are 3 times more than him. But if it's your wish to go and assist him, who am I not to support you? So, Chairman, my young friend, I wish you well. Very few women get to high office in our country, and she's encouraged. I thank you, Chair. So I have no further question for the Honorable Freda.
Please, who was his deputy when he was first appointed by Professor Mills? Enjoy your liberties.
Honorable Freda Prempah, I have no more questions for you. I recall that 4 years ago, your predecessor, I offered him land at the higher right. It is still there. I've prepared the place, so when you need a place to construct, because I'm really keen about rental units for young upstarts, In the communities I grew up, everybody was building what we call compound houses. Today, it's not attractive for any young man to live there with the shared facility. So it's they go through a lot of trauma when they are posted to work in communities like Bekwai, Oda, Yamfo, and then getting accommodation becomes difficult for them. So I'm very keen on rental units, particularly targeting young upstarts and graduates. So whenever you have an investor who is interested in going out of Accra and Kumasi, tell him the choir has a place for them. Okay? Now, thank you for attending upon the committee. You're discharged.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.